everybody! So this presentation is about how to use avatars as an online system, and this is Dr. Sersecion. I realize that we might look a little bit different today because we're wearing a different outfit than we normally do, and I'm sure that's the only difference right now. No, but seriously, so we're going to talk about how to use an avatar as a system. There are some easy ways and free ways actually to be able to do this. Some that aren't, but we're going to go through the different ways that you could do this for you all. So what are some of the reasons to do this in the first place? It is really cool as a system to have different people be able to look like themselves. And we understand that in bigger systems it might be too complicated to do that, but hopefully for some people in the system they might be able to make an avatar that looks like themselves and they can use it online. Because it is really cool to be able to see yourself the way that you see yourself internally. And also that way when people are interacting with you all, they can literally see that you all look different, because as you all know, when you share a body, it is very difficult to do that. There are some things that help, but especially for singlets, I think that they have a really rough time understanding the differences. So where can you even use them? Pretty much everywhere. I mean, not IRL, obviously, not really, but any virtual chat program you can use these avatars, so you can download yourself into them, or you know what I mean, your avatar into them, so you can look like the way that you actually look. For streaming or recording, which is what we're doing right now, chatting with friends, and you can also use them as face claims. So there are a lot of other programs that help you make a face claim, or I know some people use pictures online. But some of these programs might help you make something that's that basically is more original, or that looks more like yourself, because you're being able to make it directly. So some places you can use it. A really popular one is VR Chat. We would be showing what that looks like, but we haven't spent enough time there to be able to do that, because so basically you have to spend a certain amount of hours, and I think you have to get a certain amount of friends before they'll let you upload an avatar, so unfortunately we have not been able to do that. There are video games that you can upload your avatar. Those are pretty cool. There aren't that many yet, but it does seem to be happening more often. You can actually use them on Zoom, which a lot of people don't know, or any other chat software, and the reason why is because if you are using your avatar and you're doing it through a service like OBS, like we're doing now, or some programs have their own virtual camera already embedded into it, you basically just select the virtual camera and then you're in the chat with whoever you're talking to, which is cool. And for that reason, you can use it on Discord as well. So we've done it before, and basically the program that we use, which we'll go over in a minute, lets you insert yourself so that the same way that you all are seeing us now, this is how we'd look on a Discord chat with friends, which is pretty cool. What are some of the face capture programs? So we tried to focus on the free ones. I will say a lot of these you do have to pay some money to get the pro version. Sometimes you don't need that. Sometimes with the version they give you it's enough, but other ones you do. So the one that we like the most is Luppet, which is on here. You get a free trial where you can do everything, but it has like a watermark on it. And so to take off the watermark, it's about $60. We weren't going to buy it originally, to be honest. We were going to use some of the free programs, but we did see a lot of people speaking highly of it, and when we used the trial, it was so much better, so we decided to buy the program. But the other ones that are listed here, some of them are free, so a lot of them you can find on Steam, and actually Vtube Studio, we're going to show a bit of how that looks like as well. FaceRig is really popular too. And that one's really cheap. I mean, it's $15 for the full version for personal use. We will just say now, and I think it'll be obvious when we show you how different ones look. Some of these are only for 2D avatars, and some are for 3D. I know that might sound a little complicated, but basically, so the way that 2D avatars and 3D avatars work are very different. So you just have to make sure that whatever type of avatar you're doing, you're using a program that works with it. We will say that 3D avatars are actually a lot cheaper as in free, so we recommend that. So how do you make them anyway? These are the two biggest programs that are used. They're both free. So VROID Studio is completely free. You can do anything you want. Live 2D is like, they have a trial version, and then they have a version that's like for personal use that's cheaper. So it's not, it's like free-ish. You can get a lot of things when you're using the free version, but not as much. VROID Studio though is actually free, legitimately. So we'll be looking at that one the most. And so now what we're gonna do, this is one of our other avatars, but now what we're gonna do is show you what each of these look like. Hi everyone. Okay, so even though it seemed like a second to you, we took quite a long time to be able to figure this out and how to show you. So we realized that it isn't really easy to see the text here, but so hopefully you get an idea of what this is. This is a live 2D program. We're starting with the hardest one, but don't worry about that. So we're not going to spend too much time on this one. This is the program that you would use if you wanted to make a 2D picture that you all drew into something that's movable. We were trying to find a way for you all to see like how things are separated into pieces, but we didn't have much luck with that. So we're using one of the free avatars that they give you. And these links are on our PowerPoint, but we'll also see if we can put them in the video description. So what's important to understand is that this picture that's right here, all of these parts are actually separate. That's what we were trying to figure out how to show you the grid, but like the arm is separate, both arms for this one. I think this hair piece, the eyes, basically anyone who's worked on maybe using Photoshop, each item that moves is a separate layer. So that's why this one is really complicated, but we wanted to show you at least what it looked like. So here's one of the examples. You can see she's super cute, and they've basically made it so that all these different parts move. Some of them are moving because of physics, which is like the hair. And what that means is that when this character is moving around, their hair will jump up and down because the physics engine understands that. That is a very, very, very brief overview of what this is. The characters look super cool, but it's hard to make. What some people do is that even if they can draw their own avatar, they might have somebody else rig it, which is to make it do these things and do the animations and whatnot. Like, here's another animation. This is the idle animation, and what that means is that when you're using this character, this will be what they look like all the time. And that's cool because it makes it seem like the character's more alive, right? Because it's moving slightly. Some people add stuff like breathing, automatic blinking, things like that. So this is kind of complicated. A lot of people don't go into this or they pay for it, but the unfortunate part is that it's pretty expensive. So we'll show you that in a minute. And also what we're going to do is actually switch over to Vtube Studio, but we're going to have to take only a second for you all, but a little bit of time on our end to hook ourselves up to that program so you can see what it looks like. Because the model we're using right now is a 3D model. Like we said, it's the easiest one. We're starting with the hardest one to go through it quickly, and then we're going to spend a little bit more time on the ones that are probably more accessible. But we didn't want to ignore this because honestly the characters do look really cute. It's just that they're a little harder to make. Hi everyone! Okay, now we're in a totally different program. This is Vtube Studio, and this is how it would look if you're using a 2D avatar. So the face isn't very well calibrated, which is why our mouse is open for some reason a lot, but that's okay. You can at least kind of see what this would look like. So you can see this is a 2D model. You can move it around, and then you can like close up on the model's face and move around. It's tracking all of our movements right now. We were able to calibrate it a little bit before this, and even though the 2D model making is pretty complicated, this is not complicated at all. And we're using the free version, which is why you can see the watermark here, but it's just so you all get an idea of what this would actually look like. And you can see there are like a lot of different settings over here that you could do. We have the eye open sensitivity to 100 because cameras don't register when our eyes open. As you can hopefully see already, it's actually a lot better on capturing emotion directly, which is great, because the other one is definitely not. The other one you have to use different key commands. This one has some too, like what we just did, and this. So there's some different key commands you can use with this avatar too. Yeah, and then you use the mouse to move the avatar around. This is what the full body looks like. And going back to the physics thing we talked about before, that's how the rest of the body moves, with a physics engine, which is really cool. Anyway, so you can see that here are some of the different things that you can do. If we were doing this for real, like the other one that we use, we would be messing with all this stuff to make sure that it tracks us pretty well. Let's see if I can show you all some of the other models. So these are the free models that you can play around with in this program. And again, this is Vtube Studio. So even as it is, you could still, there are ways like using OBS and other things to put this into like a virtual camera so you can use it anywhere. Yeah, so let's see. So some of the options are pretty interesting. You can see there's a puppy. So cute, so cute. And let's try the black cat. Yeah. Anyway, you can make whatever you want, basically. Like I said before, if we would have calibrated correctly, this would be working a little bit better. So this is an idea of what the 2D ones look like. We're going to now move on to the 3D ones. So again, the 2D ones, we honestly think they're a lot cuter, but you can't use them in as many places. They are really good, I guess, for face claims and things like that, because even though the program that we showed, which was a bit complicated, there are ways for you to take pre-existing things, if it's just for personal use, and mess around with it just a little bit to do what you want. And there's a bunch of videos on that online. Okay, we're going to turn back to our humanoid cat version instead of this one. Okay, so this is the program we mentioned. This is VROID Studio, which is completely free and lets you make a 3D avatar. It's surprisingly easy because so when you first log in, we didn't do that because we have all our avatars there too. So, but when you first log in, you'll see all the free avatars that it includes. And at this point, I think it includes about maybe even 6 or 7 different ones. This is the one that has been around since the beginning, so we figured we'd pick them. And as you can see, like totally, completely 3D, right? This is the one that's better, one for editing, but also because it's easier, but also it's the one that's more usable on pretty much everything. And the current avatar we have is a 3D avatar that we made in this program too. So if it helps you to kind of see, you can do a lot of things with this program. So probably the easiest thing to point out are things like this. So if you basically go to the body editor and play around with these sliders here, you can do quite a lot. Like hand size. I don't know why you'd want huge hands, but you could. Finger thickness. It makes more sense if you have like a plan in mind of what you want to do. Yeah. So you can kind of like just mess with all of these options, like neck length, head size. If for some reason you want some, I guess, kind of creepy character. But yeah, you can do a lot just with that. And then they even have a bunch of clothes that you can pick from. But before we do that, we want to show you this button. So this is the texture button. Once you've picked out some clothes, if you click on the texture, this is what she's actually wearing. And so you can either, let's see, yeah, so you can either export it so that you can play around with it in a different art program, or if you don't have that, that's fine. You can actually paint on this directly. We're not going to do anything serious, but we just want you to see what it looks like. So see, like, you can basically do a bunch of random stuff. Obviously, we're not going to save this, but it's just to show you that you can change things relatively quickly. I mean, the ribbon is probably the easiest one. Switch over. So this is the ribbon, and let's say I wanted to make the ribbon green. I could pretty easily do that. The only thing is that I basically took away all the shadows. But anyway, this is just like a quick thing to show you how easily you can switch stuff around. There's even things like, let's see if I can pull this off. Yeah, so I don't know if you can see it. If you erase certain parts of it, it'll actually disappear. Not really, as you can see, it's still there, but it makes it transparent so it seems like it's gone. So maybe I want a bow tie instead of what I had before. You just erase stuff. It's really cool. Like if I go back here and we erase, I don't know, this. See what I mean? So you all can see like the skirt under it because we literally erased a part of the clothing. And so what a lot of people do is that they make a bunch of cool clothes with this. So you can do quite a lot of editing with the character, the skin tone. Unfortunately, they only make white skin tone. Most of them are really super pale. I mean, we're pale right now, but that's because we're trying to be look like a black and white cartoon. A little bit different. Most of our characters are different shades. But basically, if you select the texture of the skin, you can just paint over the skin or here like you're doing with the clothes. We thought about showing that to y'all at first, but honestly, it looks a little creepy, the texture. So go look at it at your own risk, I guess. But anyway, the point is that you can do quite a bit with this. Another cool thing about it is the hair editor. Oh, and all these programs are in Japanese, which, hold on. Sometimes it's a little glitchy. That's from before. Anyway, all these programs are in Japanese, but thankfully most of them have translations into English now. Even if they don't, usually there's pretty good stuff online to help you go through it. Anyway, but that's to explain why this is here, because this is all in Japanese. So, if you see what is going on, like, let's get closer. This is the character's hair, right? And so you can see how different chunks of it are placed on this person's head. And then I was trying to make the character bald, but I think it's all too separate. Yeah, so there's a bunch of stuff you can kind of do with this. It'll help you do different types of hair. You can either use one of the presets and modify it a little bit, like, let's say for some reason I want to move just that piece of hair, make it really out and dramatic. I could do that. Oh wait, I'll select all of it. You can move like the whole chunk of hair like this. This is more just messing around with the presets that already exist. But you can also do something like, oh wait, I'm putting it in the wrong place. Here. Let me just make that one. Okay. So you can kind of like make hair. It looks super weird because I'm not trying to make it, not trying to give it much effort, but it's also because I changed the grid under it. Let's see if I can pick. Yeah. So here it's a little bit easier. So you can see that I picked the group in the front, and you can just make a bunch of hair. Usually it's a little bit better if you want to do something completely different, to just delete all this and start from scratch, and then you'll have a character who is bald or has very little hair. You just draw over that. But yeah, it's she looks terrible now, but hold on, let me get rid of all these ugly things that I just did. Yeah. So anyway, but you can mess around with the character quite a bit and figure out what you want them to look like. We will say this, unfortunately the female avatars get a lot more clothes and a lot more attention than the male avatars. So even though we often have characters that we try to make more like us, so non-binary, we often start with a female base. The one time we start with a male base for one of the guys internally, it just isn't working out that well, and we had heard that they don't give the male avatars much attention, and it's definitely true. There are a lot less options for places where you can start with the male avatar, and just, I don't know, the control wasn't very good. If you go online to get clothes, the male avatars don't have as many, so just something to think about, unfortunately. You can still do quite a bit, it's just that the female avatars seem to have a lot more flexibility on how you make them look, and you can change the body somewhat to be more masculine, a little bit. Like you can change like the chest, for example, and the face a little bit. Those are the things that people normally worry about the most. So, but this is just to kind of show you all what this looks like. Oh, one last thing before we forget. So we were talking about clothing before. It doesn't have a ton, but it has like a decent amount of stuff. So, like, you know, you can pick like a t-shirt and then move around the sleeves, the waist, whatever, you know? And you can draw on it. You can like change around the pants. There's also like, oh, there it is. So I couldn't say there's shoes and things like that. So you can just do quite a bit. Sometimes if you're sure that you're going to be drawing over it anyway, honestly the white ones are pretty good for that. What else would be useful? Because this program is super not complicated in a bad way, more that the more you know, the more cool stuff you can do. So if you end up getting into it, we recommend watching all of the really good like how-tos on YouTube. So we'll just show this for one last thing. This is where you can do or see what different facial expressions look like and figure out what you want to do. And this is important because when you're doing things online, you can change your facial expression. So watch. We have some of the basic ones on this one. This is neutral. Doesn't look very different, I know. And then this is angry. So angry. This is happy. Super happy. I'm very sad. So sad. And scared. And then very happy. So there's a lot of different things you can do. This helps you look at what those emotions look like. You can combine them, see what you want to do with that. When you practice with them here, you can actually go to the face editor and edit some of the expressions. So you saw the ones that we just showed you, right? These are the basic ones that you start with. We edited ours already quite a bit, but the avatar that we use more has really cool facial expressions that we added because we came in here and changed a ton of stuff to make something we wanted. Because when you're in any program that you're using these, it's going to give you different button options like we just did to make the faces change. So you want to make sure that whatever it is kind of fits you. People can do some cool stuff with this too. Like we wish we could show you, but it would be switching to another avatar. But basically, for one of ours, we made a shocked expression from old 70s manga, which we're really into for some reason. And so it's pretty cool. So when we hit that button, we look like a dramatic shoujo character from the 70s, which is nice. Yeah, so you can play around with all this stuff. And then when you need to export it, let's see, let's go down. Is it up here? It'll go into T-pose, obviously, and then you just figure out what you want to do and export it. When you're exporting things out, here's where you can switch if you want other people to be able to use it or not. All of ours we set to private, and then you can say if you allow them to do anything more adult or not. And so the reason is because let's say you make an avatar, like you start getting into this and want to make avatars for other people, you can restrict some usages so that your character isn't used for things that you don't agree with. Yeah. So it just looks very odd to have her or to have this character T-posing. Let's go back to expression. Okay. So that's kind of a run through with the different more basic programs. We're going to switch over to show you what the program we're using right now for capture looks like. I think that'll be useful. And then we did see some of the bigger marketplaces where you can buy things. And we're going to show you both of those. There's a pretty wide range, as in some people make avatars and clothes totally for free, which is really cool, and others can charge quite a bit. So we're going to switch over to that. So now we're going to show you some places where you can get things for your avatar. This is one of the main ones. It's called Booth. And if you go here, you can see all of it's in Japanese, but no worries. If you come up here to the top right-hand side, you will be able to click on English, and it'll translate quite a bit into English. Not everything, and so you might want to use your browser to translate into English instead, because sometimes when you go into the descriptions, they're in Japanese and it might be hard to understand what's actually being sold. But either way, so you can already see there's actually quite a lot of VROID things here, but it's best to put VROID up in the search bar, and then you'll see all these different clothing items that you can get for your avatar. Even though they're in Japanese yen, an easy way to figure out how much money this is to just move 2 decimal points forward. And what that would mean is that this item, for example, which is 200 yen, is a little under $2 US. So that's a good way to convert it. But you can see even here, there's already something that's here for free. So a lot of people will make cute clothes that you can download for your avatar, and they don't cost anything. So you just go in and download it. Let me just pick one. So if you go here, well, first of all, you'll see what we explained, that this part is still in Japanese. So what you want to do is use your browser, click on English, and then it'll translate it relatively well. And you can see the free downloads that you have here. In this case, it looks like the basic one, there's a watermarked one that's free, a sample one, and then if you want the different colors and styles, then you'd have to pay for those. So this is one place. This is for the 3D avatars. For the 2D avatars, and this one doesn't have an English option, so make sure that you're translating it into whatever language you want in your browser. But this is mostly for people who are commissioning, making 2D avatars and rigging them. It's pretty expensive, like we had said before, but it could be that maybe you have the resources to do this, then this is a place to go. This one is pretty well regarded, so it's a good example. But just to get an idea of the prices here, so remember what we just said, if you move 2 decimal points up, that's how much it is. So this one is $600, this one is $2,100, and that is not unusual. This one's another grand. Like, they're pretty expensive. There are people who sell them for cheaper, but then usually the mobility is very limited, or they don't have any expressions or anything like that, which is another reason that we feel that the 3D avatars are better, because it's free and you can just do everything pretty much on your own. Even if you commission a 3D avatar, you can usually commission someone to make you a basic avatar for way less than you would for these. So those are some options for you all. Now we're going to show you a little bit behind the scenes on Leopit, which is what we're using. Like we said before, with Leopit, you do have to pay, and honestly there's a bunch of free ones that we already talked about, which you can use instead. But the controls are pretty similar, so let's show you what this one looks like. Here you can see more or less what it looks like. One of the problems is that we have it set up to make our background down here invisible, or transparent really. And so you can't see that the program is actually green because it's making all the greens into a transparent layer so that we can put ourselves up, or put our avatar over anything, just to kind of explain that. So that the program itself would look like a brightish green. Anyway, so on the screen that we're on right now, you can see how we're getting the lip sync to match up to our voice, and that's through the mic one. So with the mic selection, it seems to be the most accurate, and it reads the audio that you're transmitting and turns it into what it thinks your mouth should look like. The letters that you see here is because you can try to test them out and see if your mouse is making the right movements based on those letters. Another option is camera-based lip sync. We can't do that right now anyway, but we don't think that that's very good, to be honest, because usually it just can't pick up as much as the voice-based one can. This one seems to be better, but if you, for some reason, maybe your mic isn't working as well, or something's going on, that's a second option. And these are just some different settings to make your avatar look differently. So the brightness setting, like bloom, makes you have this really bright light, for example. And then this other lighting setting is where the light is coming from on your avatar. And it'll change a little bit of the hue of what you look like. The most important thing when you use any of these is the webcam calibration, or whatever camera calibration. Make sure that you find that and click on this calibrate button and then stay very still. There you go. So see, it calibrated us a little bit. That probably means that we moved slightly since the last time we calibrated it. But you would want to make sure to do this every time before you're using something. What it does for us really well is that, maybe because we're short, but it tends to always have our avatar looking up like this pretty consistently. So when we do that, it focuses on where we're actually sitting in like IRL. And then Leap Motion, this is kind of cool. It's a separate program. It is a little bit pricey. We wouldn't actually recommend it because we do have one, but it seems like to get it to read properly, we have to add some different things to it or hook it up differently. So it's become kind of a pain, which is unfortunate. But if you get one, what this means is that it controls your hands. And so you could be moving your hands. We ended up not using it for this presentation because we were having so many calibration problems because we don't have... Basically, it's better if you work with, say, a VR headset or some motion tracking things. We don't have any of that. And so our hands would look really weird. So we thought that it was too distracting, and that's why we're not using it for this presentation. But if you got it, you would calibrate it here, and this is basically moving where your hands would be. So for example, this means that the hands would be pretty close to your body. Further out would move them outward. Unfortunately, there isn't another one on the other to make them move further out from your body horizontally, if that makes sense. Which is another issue we found when using it. It basically keeps your arms way too close to your body. There are ways to make it better, but again, that requires just a bunch of different stuff that you have to buy. For character positioning, this basically means where our character is looking. So for example, we can move ourselves around. We can make ourselves really small, and then you can see our full body. See, like that? Because it's 3D, we can move around quite a bit. And you can move all around the screen if you want to, whatever it is that works out for you. We usually have it right in the middle because that works better for how we use it for this type of thing. And the other ones are more advanced, which I don't think are really relevant for this, but this gives you an idea of what these web programs look like. So what you can do is basically, if you decide to use these type of avatars, using some of maybe the free programs that we've shown you, you can use them in like Zoom or Discord or any type of chat program really, because all of them have a way that you can have a camera that goes out. And if they don't, then it's pretty easy to connect it to OBS, for example, which is what we're using, and then you start a virtual camera. So this that's here is what you'd be seeing as our, basically the way that we'd look in a chat. The only thing that we tend to add in OBS, which I wonder if we can do right now. I think so. Yeah. So basically we have a few backgrounds that we can use, and if you put them on OBS, then it looks a little bit better. The problem is that, as you can see, our hair starts to kind of dim a little bit just because of the settings, but there are different ones that you can use. We've used this one earlier, you all saw. But yeah, so you can add whatever background you want, and then you can project that to a camera, and people can see you all the way you actually look, which is pretty neat. I think it's also helpful if maybe you just want to have more privacy, because even though people can hear your voice, obviously they're not seeing what you actually look like. So we hope this presentation was helpful for you all, and if you make an avatar or start to use this, just let us know what you end up making. You can do a lot with the different programs. Like we said, this one that we have right now, we made in VROID Studio. So yeah, let us know, and hopefully you all found some useful information in this. Bye!